So I'm super excited for this. This is really kind of the first time that I know I've gotten to do a space, certainly with Bonfire, but with creators directly. And so as a product manager, this is sort of like a gold mine because even though Livepeer is the infrastructure layer for live streaming and stored video, really the end user are the creators themselves. And so it's really important for me and the rest of the team at Livepeer to understand sort of the needs of creators and how projects like Bonfire are enabling sort of great creator experiences. And so getting to chat with you all today is going to be really awesome. Cool. So before we get into any of that, I think we should probably do a quick round of introductions. So my name is Paige. I'm a product manager at Livepeer Studio. I chat with Matt very frequently to kind of get his insights. And so I'm excited to see how this all come together. Matt, do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm Matt. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Bonfire, and we are a no-code creator platform, really focused on Web3 community building and engagement. So we focus a lot on, adding utility to tokens, interacting and engaging with collectors through things like, token gated content, and that's where the relationship with Livepeer began. But yeah, really happy to be here. Bonfire really shows up as kind of a Web3 website builder, but really focused on creator use cases. And so, yeah, it's a little bit about us, and excited to also, should I just popcorn it to the creators
Popcorn
or?
away. That sounds great.
Sweet. Cool. Ibn, do you want to maybe kick off the intros on the creator front?
Awesome. Yeah, my name is Ibn in Glory. I'm a artist, recording artist from the far south side of Chicago, a place called Altgeld Gardens. I've been making music professionally since 2013 and jumped into Web3, I want to say like early last year. Got my feet wet and kind of explored the space and made something out of it. I started Danger Zone DAO, which is a creator DAO, one of the first creator DAOs that was started sometime last year. And it's basically a way for me to kind of um, start like a real collector and fan base, well, collector community and like a fan base all in one. And the plan to like scale that is like super down the line, but something I'm really excited about. But yeah, I'm excited to be here, excited to be talking about this, and I'm like popcorn it to Charlie.
Hey guys, how are you? So happy to be here and really grateful for the invite. My name is Charlie Crown. I'm an artist producer originally from Colombia, currently based in the US. I've been making music for more than 15 years since I was a teenager. Got into the space when I discovered Ethereum at the end of 2020, and since then it's been a rabbit hole through the creator economy and kind of like finding ways in which I can incorporate blockchain technology into my own project and kind of like extend that to artist friends and more artists in Latin America as well. And so recently I've been supporting Bonfire with community and artist relations. So that's that. I'll pass it on to Bela, fellow Colombian here as well.
Hey, hey guys, thank you for the invitation. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Bela. I'm a songwriter and rapper from Medellin, Colombia, and I have been in this space for 1 year, more or less. And I have been making music since I'm a child, but honestly, mostly being songwriter. Right now, I want to become the first Latin artist to be born with Web3. So I'm really excited to be here because Bonfire is giving me the tools to make this happen.
Awesome. I love that we have two Colombians two Colombian creators in the space today. I'm currently in Bogota at DevCon, and it's really having a fabulous time. So what a beautiful home country you both have. Cool. So I would love to, for my three creators in the room, I'd love to understand how you use Bonfire today, what the value that you get out of as a creator. And sort of, what sort of, I know Bonfire offers like a lot of tools, sort of monetization features. What's sort of the most compelling and powerful for you and your fans?
I'll go first. For me, it's the token gating process. You know, making it really accessible for the early supporters of my work and my career, and really making it like an experience, like just strictly for them right now. And then like once we open it up to the public, I feel like they'll be able to experience the same thing. But I like the aspect of just token gating it and personalizing the website and adding like the imagery and stuff to it. I think like down the line with like a bunch of stuff that's going to come with like the live stream stuff and stuff like that. I feel like it's going to be super cool to give them like to just to add on to that experience and also like add stuff to the merch store and kind of start using like all the other tools that Bonfire actually has and kind of expanding on what like just what experience I really want to give my collectors and my fan base and the people that are coming to my site and um yeah, and then also just making it like an all-in-one like a one-stop shop really. I feel like that's what Bonfire is capable of doing, that Bonfire is already doing. And it's a uh brain fart, but it's a I feel like it's the experience that I personally want to give to my collectors is that it's just a all around um I don't know why my brain is acting like this right now, but yeah,
It's all
just that
good.
that's just it. But yeah, I'm gonna pass it. But yeah, I think that's it.
Cool, cool. Yeah, token gating, super compelling experience. Charlie, what's the most powerful tool? Is it the token gating for you as well?
Yeah, most definitely. Token gating is one of my favorite features. But also, seeing the kind of like the capabilities and feeling, at least by myself, that really imagination is the limit here, and discovering slowly but surely that uh, everything that I've kind of like created in my mind has been possible thanks to Bonfire. And really I resonate with what Ivan has been saying. And for me it's about having the toolkit necessary to be able to create as many one of a kind experiences for the collectors and people that maybe have my POAPs. And for me it doesn't necessarily means selling NFTs per se, but for collectors that maybe collect things that have certain price points, but also for people that attend my shows, that maybe pre-save a song and interact with me in certain ways. I'm able to create these experiences, and as a matter of fact, I released a remix package today. It's out today on all platforms, but for the last 3 weeks, I made that available through my Bonfire site and token gated to the people that participated in my crowdfund earlier this year. So, for me, it's all about that. How can I create more VIP and exclusive experiences to my fans, kind of like the natural evolution of the fan clubs, and really make them feel special. And I think Bonfire has given me the right tools to do that.
Yeah, I love the concept of like fan clubs and that sort of connection you're making there. That's really cool. I'm hearing this sort of token gating experience is really powerful because it helps you sort of like cultivate that sort of what's the for the 100 rabid fans or I can't remember what the
100
phrasing
true
is.
fans.
That's it. Thank you.
I like
100
100 rabid fans too.
It's a little bit more intense. So the token gating experience sort of allowing you to sort of cultivate that, and then in addition, sort of the monetization. I'm curious, Bela, like I assume you're also finding the token gating experience really sort of a compelling experience from Bonfire. Can you talk a little bit about the token gating and monetization and how that sort of works for you?
Yeah, sure. Actually, like when I found a Bonfire, I was so excited because I have a lot on my mind, talking about microphone, and I was thinking, oh my god, how I'm going to do all the things I have on my mind. So, like I think that decentralizations give like a new role to the fans, and for example, in this moment, I'm using token gated in microphone, so people is going to have like a certain amount of Hey Bela tokens, and they will be able like to have a percentage of my master. So we are going to win in both sides. And also it's very exciting for me because with that token my contributors are going to be able like to play a more active role in my creative process, you know, because they are going to be able to be like in live streaming sessions. They will be able to have like exclusive content like videos of the sessions and all this stuff. They also will have like pre-recorded concerts, and they will be able to be in live sessions, listening live sessions party, and they will be able to vote. And I think this is gonna be amazing because I want like my fans to feel that they are part of my project, you know. They all are important to where the project is going to go. So Bonfire is giving me like a lot of tools to make this happen.
Yeah,
I
really
mean,
custom. Go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna to interject and say, I mean, really kind words from all the creators, but I just want to also stress the fact that, you know, the token gating or the you know, I think position that Bonfire is playing really is more one of connective tissue, and it's kind of stitching together an ecosystem that's already there. And so, you know, when it comes to the live streams and the video infrastructure, it's like, you know, why try to recreate that when we can, you know, power with or partner with the best in class at Livepeer. And you know, another popular feature recently has been doing NFT drops directly on your site. But again, like, you know, we're partnering with protocols to enable that functionality. And really, I think we see our role as kind of being that connective tissue. And ultimately, if you're an artist, a creator, you know, a brand in Web3, then, you know, why would you want to send people ultimately to a platform that's not yours? And so really being that, like, you know, so and so dot xyz, and like being that home base that sits at kind of the center of the entire ecosystem, and then really just like being the connective tissue that kind of like makes it easy to interact with all these cool features that Livepeer and other platforms in Web3 are building out. I just wanted to kind of like, you know, add that nuance to the discussion, because I think we're getting a lot of credit right now for stuff that really is, you know, other platforms and protocols like working really hard to enable these like functionalities and features for creators. So, you know, credit where credit's due to all the ecosystem builders as well.
Yeah, I love this call out. I also like I think it's so refreshing for me and Web3 with this huge emphasis on interoperability and composability that we can create projects that sort of layer in all of these other protocols that sort of like are designed to kind of work nicely together. And I think Livepeer Studio that's really like the vision. I don't know that we've really like made a lot of, you know, great, you know, we haven't, you know, done a lot to really make sure that we're super compatible with lots of other projects. But I think that's really like where I know I want to see Livepeer Studio going, is that we have sort of like, we have a set of integrations that kind of come out of the box, but we have also sort of designed the product in a way that you can sort of layer on any other project with Livepeer in sort of a seamless way. We were actually just discussing like what it would look like to do a superfluid integration, and like how do we sort of make it, you know, send a webhook as you're watching a video, you know, but that could be used by other projects too. So I really, yeah. Cool. So now I kind of want to like move to sort of this video discussion, and I know that live streaming is not yet live on Bonfire. Is that right, Matt?
Both live streaming and native video are both live
Fabulous.
now. They're sort of live and unannounced because we're gonna kind of debut it after this call. But yeah, they're both live and available now in the Bonfire dashboard.
We're just dropping some alpha about what's coming on Bonfire. Cool. So I want to hear. So maybe Ivan. Well, I'll start with you. What are you sort of thinking about? How are you thinking about using video in your community with your fans?
Well, it's a couple different things that we're planning. So just recently, we just finished a membership NFT campaign with Coinvise, and the people from that the people who contributed to those membership NFTs would be able to get um, footage from the making of like my new EP Danger Zone with like my like just the experience of seeing what we built and how we built this project out. They'll be able to get like production like beat breakdowns from the producers of the EP and just get that whole like in-house experience, I guess I want to say, to see like how we create, where we create, because all these projects are made in our rooms, in our bedrooms, and remote also. So my producer, who's in the audience now, Aaron Sim, he's based in Scotland, and I'm on the far south side of Chicago. So it's like, damn, like how do we actually showcase our workflow and stuff like that? So sometime like a couple times out of the year we get together and we make music. Like he'll fly out here, I'll fly out there, but showing that experience is what I want majority of like my video and my content to be. Also with giving like a tiny desk style performance from a lot of other artists that I would personally like to see perform, and giving them the stage to kind of set their own stage design, because I feel like a live show experience created by an artist for other artists is like kind of the best route to go, because we know like every artist wants to be comfortable and in their own space. So it's like, hey, if you got the right to like design like your own stage design, so that whatever makes you comfortable as you so see fit, I feel like that's a great way to get the best performance out of an artist, at least in my opinion. um so yeah, like that's majority of the content that I want to roll out. Just a recap of how we created the Danger Zone EP, beat breakdowns from the producers, and just live performance experiences from a few artists in the community.
Damn, I love that tiny desk concert idea. That is very cool, and I would love to see that on Bonfire using Livepeer. That's great. Charlie, Bella, is there, are you sort of thinking similar to Ivan in the way that you'd like to use video to cultivate your community, or maybe something different? Anything to sort of add about how video might enhance the experience your fans will have?
Of course, of course. I think video for me and for the Charlie Crown project is gonna play a big role. I'm really excited about the live streaming uh, because I've always loved the idea of it, but I haven't really thought of how can I make it in an environment that's more involving and more engaging for my fans. So I think um, doing live streaming where I go live and maybe I share my screen and make some music live and go through the process, through my creative process of how I build a song or how I make a beat or how I mix something. It's really going to be exciting, and in a Web3 kind of like a scenario, I'm hoping to be able to uh, give experiences through that, maybe give po-ups to people that tune into my live streaming, and kind of like give them a window into my creative process. And I think that for fans, that's at least I love seeing my favorite artists make their music, so it looks not that difficult, and I sometimes really learn from them. So I'm hoping to do that for the people that also like my music, and show them how I make it, and hopefully one, inspire them, and two, also make it like a learning experience through live streaming on my site.
Awesome. Bella, what about you?
So, like, I feel that for a long time the world has been moving towards exclusive content, So, fans no longer want to be like in an active role. Like in my case, I want them to interact, and for example, I'm going to combine like a sports with music. So in the case of videos and exclusive content, they will be able, for example, to see my training sessions, because like I'm going to run 20 kilometers just to show that with discipline everything can be accomplish, so they will be able, for example, to see exclusive content about my training sessions. For example, I want to do like videos about my musical sessions too, introducing my team. And I think that is a powerful tool, also the videos, because I want my contributors like to be part of my creative process too. So also with the like live stream, it's like a powerful tool, but I really believe videos are a powerful tool too, because when I can do like live stream, they will be able to see like the videos of the training sessions, of the introducing my team and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, Ivan, go ahead.
Yeah, like I love that. I love how I guess the best thing about like us as creators and artists, I feel like that we're trying to get give the experience we're trying to give is one of the most authentic experiences because we're all independent creators. We all damn near create like in our room, in our home. We don't have a big studio budget, to go to a go to a big time studio and record and any of that. So like showing the intimacy of like how we actually um create our music and how freaky we get or weird we get like in the studio, that like we won't get this weird in a big time studio because you have other eyes, you got the big board in front of you and stuff like that. But like now when you record at home, like you get like as weird as you want, you get as freaky and make all different type of sounds that you just wouldn't make like in a big time studio. So I feel like giving the audience and the collectors like that authentic experience is what I'm most happy about, like about this whole process, because a lot of people want to see what the work that goes into making a certain song. Like it could be like, for instance, i freestyled a whole I freestyled for a whole 3 to 5 minutes and we didn't keep any of it. But when we laughed, me and my producer, we laughed afterwards because we was like, what the fuck just happened? Like you just like didn't stop rapping. And then when I started back up, that was the first line that I said was the line that started the song that we created. And it was just like, wow, like if people was able to see that or hear that, which we do have it like recorded, but we have the memo recorded but not the video. But like if they was able to see that and understand like, wow, okay, like they just are a lot of artists just going there to have fun. It's not really that serious. We get to see the silly side and the real side of a lot of these artists and how just how we are personally, because a lot of people might feel like a certain artist is very like to themselves or stuck up or anything like that, but then when you see like, okay, yeah, this guy's just a regular guy, he's goofy, he's silly, he likes to make jokes, like I could relate to that even more. I think it just makes the bonding experience with the listener and the artist like way better.
Charlie, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love everything that you just said, and I think uh, it all comes down for me to that evolution of fan clubs. Fans, thanks to them, is why we artists get to wake up every day and do what we love. So for me, it makes the most sense to continually and continually build the best experiences possible for them and bring them as close as you can. Before with Web2, it was kind of like this barrier between fans and artists, but now with blockchain and Web3, it's like if you can bring them as close as possible, why wouldn't you? And build that relationship up and kind of like thank them in as many ways as you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing, just like a common thread that I've heard, and I think something that we think a lot about is also like how can you engage on your terms, as a creator, as an artist. And so I think one thing that's really cool about at least what I'm hearing is that it's not even about producing additional content or more premium content. If anything, it's like actually tapping into all the unreleased music that's just sitting on your hard drive anyways, or it's just going live when you're going to be in the studio recording, and like you were going to do that anyways, but letting those biggest fans, those people who love your craft, like have an inside look at the process, or give feedback on the early iteration before it's gonna be a finished product going on YouTube, or uploaded to Spotify. It's like it's all stuff that's happening anyways, and it's a sense of connection that's going to be most valuable to those biggest fans. And I think right now there's just not really a good way to understand who those biggest fans are. And I think that's one of the value props of Web3 overall, is like now you have these relationship graphs that are being built on chain in a way that's like agnostic to any platform, that's truly owned by the creator. Like nobody can take that. So that's kind of like knowing who your super fans are, but then now having a format for actually like engaging with them, and really quickly just giving value back to them, in a way that doesn't really cost you anything extra as a creator, as an artist. I think that's really, like, in my mind, like such a cool and powerful like dynamic that Web3 kind of helps create.
Cool. Bella, did you want to chime in?
Yeah, I'm super agree. Like, I one of the things that I most love about Web3 is like everybody is so authentic, and I think we have the opportunity here to keep it real, so it generates a lot of value for me that fans are going to be able to take a look inside, because right now, like, we are in a time when everything is so massive, and I really want to get intimate, to touch. How do you say fibras, Charlie, in English? Charlie.
I would say every fiber in the
Yeah,
body of people.
yeah. Like like we all want to touch like fibers, So like we have the tools here, and like Web3 is giving us that opportunity. So I'm super agree with everything you have said, because we just want to keep it real, and giving this exclusive content is giving the opportunity to the fans to take a look inside. It's not Instagram with everything, usually is fake, you are going to be able to see how we feel, how we think, how we want to create our art, and that generates a lot of value for me.
Oh, I just love that. This sort of, that intimacy you're trying to cultivate, this sort of authenticity you're trying to cultivate, this sort of like deepening the relationship with your fans, and Web3 sort of allowing you to do that and understand who your fans really are, and even video sort of having that sort of extra dose of intimacy and authenticity, as sort of like a powerful medium for you to use to connect with your fans. This is all really awesome. This is great. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Like you see just what's happening with the Web2 kind of, social media platforms, and how dominant video has been as a format recently. I think it's just such an immersive format, such a kind of like, high bandwidth way to interact, that you see it kind of taking over everything, at least from what I see. So yeah, I think video is just such a powerful format for actually telling stories, and for actually kind of having really high fidelity like interaction with one's fans or audience or community.
Yeah, I'm also curious, like, in this, I'm kind of going into product manager mode. I'm curious about how, like, for you as a creator, how important interactivity is while you're live streaming. It feels like we're sort of accustomed to this almost in the the formats in which we consume live video. It's usually accompanied by sort of a chat. I'm curious if you have any thoughts here about this sort of interactivity while you be streaming video to them, and what that sort of what that might get you.
I like the idea of like reactions, because you can give, like, it's the so a lot of artists kind of like, I talked to a couple artists about this already, but some of them typically don't like doing live performances, because they don't get the same uh, vibrations and the same energy from a crowd. So I feel like when you're doing a live performance, having like maybe like a chat or a reaction tab where it's like, okay, like people can kind of like what is it on like Facebook Live or something like that. Like you could just keep hearting it, you could just keep throwing hearts up there, keep throwing hearts up there, like that type of stuff like makes the artist, I would say the creator, feel like a lot more like, okay, like I'm actually moving you guys, like you guys are getting something out of this. It's making me feel like I'm doing my job as a performer and making you feel something with this certain performance. So I feel like that's a great that'd be like a great thing to kind of like add into it, because we want to make sure that we are delivering a service, or we are delivering a feeling and an emotion and triggering something in you, so like kind of showcase.
Oh, Ivan, I think I lost you.
You cut out, but that's a great idea. I think being able to spam a reactions button while the live stream's going on. I'm also taking notes as a product manager. So Paige, I know you're taking notes on your end as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Matt and I have actually gone back and forth, and it's something that Livepeer sort of has newly enabled is viewership, just being able to see how many. And this is specifically what we just released was for like on-demand stored assets, so not for live video just yet. But that it's sort of connecting the dots for me is like, as a creator, like you're when you're doing something live, you're really feeding off the audience, you're really reacting to them. And so understanding like how many people are watching, what are their reactions, like, can they send you little like emojis? Can they react to the chat? Like that's an important experience as like the person who is sort of doing something creative to, a public that isn't immediately in front of you. So yeah, go ahead, Bella.
Yeah, I think this is huge because, as you said, I will be able to have the opinion of my public in real time, and that's huge for me. Like, for example, I plan to do like a listening session to choose which songs will come out on the album that I plan to do with microphone. Like, then I will be able to interact with my fans and listen to them and know where my project should go. So I think this is fully aligned with the concept of community.
Totally. Yeah. Charlie, any thoughts on this? What are you thinking about as far as interactivity with your community?
I agree with Bella, and generally speaking with what Ivan said as well. And it's for me, creating that engaging environment for fans to also voice their opinions, see my process, and learn from it, and also those reactions, and basically being more transparent, and opening the door to fans coming into my world, and not only knowing how I make music, but also my body language, my behavior, who am I as a person, what I like, how I speak, my accent, where I'm from. And I think that's huge in really showing yourself to your fans in a vulnerable way in your environment. That could be like a studio, or your home studio, or your house, and really building up that relationship, and hopefully eventually becoming really close friends, because through these interactions with live streaming and talking gating and this community building, I truly hope at one point this turns into IRL experiences for them as well, so we can hopefully meet those people, and sort of put a face to the fans that really make this possible for us.
Yeah, great. What I love that I'm hearing is like, because we talked a little bit about monetization as being sort of, is one of the things that I think Web3 enables for creators. And I love that I'm actually not hearing that a ton. I'm hearing this sort of wanting to cultivate community because of this sort of authenticity and knowing your fans, and getting to meet them and sort of, like really cultivating those relationships, which is which is just really kind of refreshing and interesting. But I am still sort of curious with this monetization piece. It's sort of on my mind a lot as the infrastructure provider, and finding sort of ways to make sure that creators sort of get a bigger piece of the pie. I think the sin of Web 2 was that we really kind of did wrong by the creators themselves, and these platforms took so much, really monetize the content for themselves and not really for the benefit of creators, or very few creators. How are the creators in the room thinking about live video and monetization, or even like sort of stored video monetization? Any sort of thoughts or where you think you might want to start?
Ultimately, monetization is definitely like, the end goal. It's not the end all be all, but it's definitely like one of the goals that like, artists, us creators like definitely want. But I think ultimately like just the relationship building outright, as first and foremost is kind of what would drive the monetization, because once you reel the emotion in and you connect with a fan and a certain audience, then the money will come. But for now, like I like the idea of using Coinvice as the membership NFTs that they've released, and for creators to kind of have like a recurring revenue type model. So like, if you start your membership NFTs on Coinvice, you can do 1 month, 3 months, 6 month recurring revenue model, or and then you can you can token gate those NFTs on Coinvice so that only those people who bought that collection can actually see the content for you. So I feel like it's a lot of different ways to think about it, and um, for me personally, it's not like at the forefront right now because I feel like the money will come, the finances will come, but to build the true fan and the value behind the true fan, it just comes for me personally, it comes from the emotion first.
Anyone else have thoughts on this?
Yeah, like I'm super agree. I think monetization and money comes after you create value for your community. And like for example, I soon want to upload as NFT a video of my live presentation this week at DevCon. But first, people have had to have fun in that presentation, and I met a lot of people there, a lot of wonderful people that I already knew through Twitter, and now I can like launch the NFT. But before I had to have like good conversation and good spaces with them.
Yeah, I love the prior, like, being a PM again, but like thinking about the sort of prioritization here, that the monetization will come. It's sort of secondary to creating that connection, and that's sort of sort of the primary experience that we sort of need to cultivate first before we can monetize. It's interesting. Cool.
Yeah, because
Go
like
ahead.
I mean, no, yeah, because when you, I think what's it like? I'm trying to. I feel like yeah, because it's a weird, like it's kind of like a tricky topic, because ultimately we definitely want to get paid for our content, but if we can't like if we can't like get anyone to pay us for our content first, it's kind of you kind of at a between a rock and a hard place because um, for instance, like a lot of people come into Web3 and they throw songs up to be minted for like 10 ETH, and it's like they haven't built any community around them. They haven't told a story. They haven't told their story. They haven't bonded with any collectors or anybody in the space to even expand on why is this piece that valuable? Why are you that valuable? Why are you valuing? Granted, you value your art at where you best see fit. You don't shy away from if I feel like my song is worth 10, 20 ETH, then that's what I feel like is worth, at the end of the day. But ultimately it's like you have to show why it's worth that, and express like to the community and the people around you like, hey, like this is what I'm doing. earlier in the space, like I think Charlie actually ran a successful crowdfund too, but earlier, I want to say around this time last year, like October 1st is actually like the anniversary for the Danger Zone DAO crowdfund that I did, and I raised 20 ETH, but in a span of 6 weeks. So I ran that crowdfund for 6 weeks, but I had to get on the grind. I had to get in the space and in the community, and I had to get over my own hurdles and my own public speaking anxiety because I have it so bad. I've gotten better from being, in Web3 for over a year now. So but at first it was so hard, but I had to get on the ground and on the ground, on the grind, and tell people my story and tell them what I'm doing, tell them where I'm from, because I'm from one of the most dangerous places in Chicago, one of the most dangerous projects in Chicago. I'm from the hood, the trenches, however you want to call it, and it's not easy. So I had to resonate that with people. So when I did my crowdfund, I made it so that if you didn't back the crowdfund, you didn't get to hear the music. But it wasn't in a way that like, oh, if you don't give me money, you don't get to hear it. It was more so like, hey, if my story doesn't resonate with you to the point that you don't want to back it, cool, But if my story resonates with you and you fuck with me and what I'm trying to do in my mission, then I'll let you hear the music, type shit. So it was like one of those things where everybody that contributed to my crowdfund, I had a personal one-on-one conversation with them. I reached out to them. Some people backed it just off the strength of that conversation. It had nothing to do with what I was doing in the space. We talked and then they went to see what I was doing and then they told me that they backed it. So just creating that one-on-one bonding experience with the audience is, I feel like, definitely always going to be the first thing that creators want to do, because the money will definitely come. So it's definitely tricky because it's like, yeah, you want to um get the value for your art, but on the flip side of that, you have to work for that same value.
Paige, I'm curious, just sort of from your perspective, being kind of at the infrastructure layer, just solely focused on video and live streaming, like what are your answers to that question? Like, I guess, what are sort of the trends or patterns that make sense or resonate most with you in terms of how creators will monetize around these content formats?
Oh yeah. So the stuff that's on my mind right now is like, I see like, so I think we already have sort of a solution for this, but I think like minting video NFTs is sort of like where I think I would assume most people would sort of start, is that maybe you have a short video that you've captured and you want to sort of mint that as a video for your fans. And then that's sort of a mechanism for you to sort of understand, how loyal your fans are. And then sort of going a layer even deeper is that thinking about like live streaming and minting as NFTs, not the live stream itself necessarily, but like clipping moments in a live stream and then minting those as NFTs, and then selling those and allowing users, your fans to do the clipping. This is like functionality that exists in Twitch today. So enabling that. Also, like, token gating is also like just like the big one, so, either requiring a certain amount of token or a certain NFT to access content. I also thinking like buying an NFT. If you buy this NFT, you'll get all these extras, which includes clips of video and a song that we just released, and sort of you get this sort of like the fan, the kind of content that like super fans want. They want to buy the NFT to get access to this sort of like next layer of content. So those are the big things that I see from like a monetization perspective. I think the interesting challenge here is that, the the monetization mechanism in Web 2 is sort of, you don't really see it. You don't, because your data is being monetized. And so thinking about monetization in Web 3 sort of have to actually pay for this content, sort of content, like kind of more of a bar than they'd expect, but they actually get to pay creators directly. And so actually one of the things that's sort of like kind of in, research and development right now, we're sort of getting our hands around it, is being able to sort of prove provenance around video content, and being able to surface. So what this could look like is like, so you have a live stream video and you are playing it with, like the Livepeer player, and then the Livepeer player can surface metadata that says this wallet address minted this video or originally created this video. And then that way your fans always know that they're paying the creator directly. So that's also another, I think this is one of the beauty of Web 2 is being able to sort of control your own data and sort of, have indicators of ownership. And so I think that's stuff that like I'm thinking about.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I think we're definitely at the stage where it's very much like a lot of experiments being run, and collectively we're all figuring out what makes the most sense. But at the same time, I think one of the big changes that Web3 will have is just like the proliferation of new business models as options, and then like much more optionality, because you're right, like in the Web2 context, there's basically one format, which is like content is free and everything's monetized, on the back end. And then I guess if you're looking more at the creator monetization tools in Web 2, then it's paying for content directly, like fans paying for content directly. But I think that there's going to be, maybe a dozen different models that can exist in a world where Web 3, is ubiquitous. And I think the biggest benefit to creators will just be so many more potential paths, like a lot more just like optionality in how you want to build community, monetize content. Like maybe you want it to be free, and it's almost like a marketing engine for you, and then you're gonna drive people down funnel to these other community centric sorts of business models, or even like starting businesses around the brand that you're building. In other cases, maybe it's like you actually want to charge for the content directly, and it feels like the biggest change is just going to be like a lot more viable paths.
Yeah, and like I think that's like such a great acknowledgement. Like we're gonna do a lot of experimentation around monetization, and we're gonna be wrong. Like we're gonna get some of these monetization mechanisms wrong. Like users won't like them. Like I mentioned, superfluid and being able to sort of do streaming payments and the sort of the way that this could work is like, you sign in as a viewer, you sign in with your wallet, you want to watch this stream, you're going to get like every minute or so, you'll get charged some amount as you're sort of watching it. So you don't have to, you pay for the content on sort of a streaming basis. You're not paying for content you don't consume. I think that could actually be really interesting. I can also see a world where like users may not want to be nickeled and dimed in this way. I don't like a future of the internet where like every interaction I have is monetized. But there could be contexts where streaming payments really do work, and that will make sense for users, especially as sort of a background monetization feature. Again, like what's so great. This is such a new space. I mean, it's a cliche at this point to say that we're early, but watching these projects, these protocols figure out monetization and just try stuff on and see what sort of resonates. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, because ultimately, like, so many tools being built right now that it's going to come down to what each artist is most comfortable with using, and to build their community around them and their experience. Because for instance, like not a lot of artists like being on TikTok because they're they're either shy, or like myself, like I'm not really like that much of a camera person in that way, but I would use a live stream more so than I would like TikTok to kind of like showcase my artistry in a way. So I feel like it boils down to the artists and what they want to build and how they want to build it, I guess I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be increasingly personal, and it'll be based on you and your fans and like what your community wants, It's not going to be this sort of one size fits all monetization. Okay, so we're 10 to the hour. I unfortunately have a very hard stop at 1, which does not mean that the conversation needs to finish. But I would love to see if there's any audience questions. I'm happy to bring you on stage and have you ask the creators or me and Matt direct questions. So let me just pause for a second and see if there's any audience questions. Also, feel free to use the chat too. That's also a perfectly viable way to ask your questions. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody make any requests, which is all good. Does anybody have any final thoughts or reflections on the conversation today? Any big takeaways?
I have one final question. Maybe I'm curious for the creators,
Great.
just like what's on the what's coming up for you that you're most excited about, be it in a couple months or next year. Just sort of what are the plans that you're most excited about that you can share at this point?
I am extremely excited about the Danger Zone EP going into public mint and public sale for the masses to hear the project. And then shortly after that, video content from the EP. And then after that, my second headline show that I'll be throwing in my hometown, putting that together. So the headline show is like the ultimate experience for me. I get to kind of put on a showcase for my own, for myself basically, and for my fans, because it's it means that particular thing means a lot to me, and that's what I'm most excited about, because coming from the city and being in Web 2 for so long, that booking people or people who like run these venues or like run the curation in the city, they like to play around with a lot of independent artists or artists that they feel like aren't popular or popular to them. So it's kind of like what is it? It's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Personal preference. So they typically, a lot of these content creators or not content creators, curators, they pick kind of like the same artists over and over again to perform at a lot of these events. So to kind of like bootstrap my own headline show is always like a one up for me, and I'm most excited about that.
Well, I'm super excited about microphone. As I told you before, like, yeah, I'm just focusing on that or trying to find a way to do my first album as an artist, to impact the world with the message I need to scream, and to impact my city as well. So right now, super excited for that, and trying to make it happen. Super excited about the experience and all I'm going to do with the people who is going to support me. And yeah, I think that that's all that on what I'm focusing right now.
I would say, for one, I'm really excited about the remix package that dropped today. 19 artists took a shot at my single that I released in April, so I'm really excited to see that out in the world today. And I'm also excited to continue building the community. I have what's going to be like a Charlie Crown Access Pass in the works right now. And yeah, through music and through building these experiences, and, for example, hopefully inspire more artists, hopefully in Latin America as well, to jump on board the Web3 wagon and start experimenting with all this technology. That's exciting.
Amazing. You guys got so much stuff in the works. This is great. Cool. Anything else? All right. If there's nothing else, thank you so much to the creators, Ivan, Charlie, Bella. This was awesome. It was so great to hear from you and what you're working on and what's important to you. Super interesting for me and I think the audience. So good stuff. Keep Livepeer apprised of all of these moves you're making. And I think I'm speaking out of turn here, but we'd love to help sort of promote you, especially as you're partners with Bonfire, and our interests are all really aligned. So keep Livepeer apprised of all these things.
Huge plus, yeah,
Cool.
huge +1 to all of that. And then Paige, also just want to thank you and the whole Livepeer team for being tremendous partners thus far, and still very much square one for us. And I think there's a lot of exciting things kind of in the partnership in the future. But I think it's been tremendous working with you and the team so far. And yeah, thanks for hosting this space and having us, and just being great partners to work with in general.
Yeah, let's do it again. Yeah, thank you, Matt, for all of your feedback and answering all my questions all the time. I really appreciate it. Okay, folks, I'll let you all go. There is a major downpour in Bogota right now. It's like nothing I've ever seen, and so I'll let you all go. Thank you so much, and talk to you all soon. All right, bye.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.